In this Adobe Illustrator tutorial, I am going to show you how you can turn a simple 3-point curved line into an entire strip of film. So in order to do that, you're going to need 3 panels on your screen. So what I'm going to do is click outside, hold my space bar for the hand tool, and I'll just push this over a little bit. Then I'm going to take my layers panel, tear that out. I'm also going to need my stroke panel, so I'll tear that one out. And in the upper right corner, I'm going to click the pop-up, show all the options for the stroke panel. You're going to need them. And then I also want my appearance panel, so I'll tear that one out as well. Now I'm getting a big mess on my screen, so I can go over to my other panels and click the double arrowhead to collapse that. That way I can put these panels kind of off to the side right over here. And I'm going to pull the bottom edge of the appearance panel down and out a little bit. And on my layers panel, the bottom layer is showing you what we're about to create. So I can throw away the bottom layer and then just take my black arrow and we'll move this down into the center of the page right about there. So what I want to do is go to my appearance panel and click on the right side. I have to highlight the stroke that I want to be working on. Okay, that's really important. You got to tell Illustrator what you are working on. So I got to click over here. I'm on the 1-point stroke. But that doesn't look thick enough to be a strip of film. So I'm going to set the thickness of that stroke all the way down to 100. Okay, then on the appearance panel, in the pop-up in the upper right, I'm going to add a new stroke, which technically duplicates the stroke that you are on right now. So when I click Add New Stroke, you can see it made an exact copy. It's also black. It's also 100 points. So I'm going to make that a white stroke. So now I have a 100-point line of white sitting right on top of a 100-point black line. I'm going to set this down. Instead of 100 points, I'll hit the down arrow and make it 90. And then right over here on my stroke panel, halfway down, it says dashed line. I'm going to click that. Now this dash is way too thick. Instead of 12, I'm going to type in 4 and return. And then, let's say those are a little too small. Let's highlight that and type 6 and return. There we go. And then the gap in between, I'm going to type 6 and return. That doesn't do anything, so let's highlight the gap and type 10 and return. That'll just kind of push them apart a little bit more. If they look like they're too spaced apart, maybe I'll highlight the gap for 10 and I'll type 8 and return, or enter on a PC. Okay, so now we have a white dashed line sitting on top of a black solid line. Now really important, I'm on the white dashed line right up here. I go to my appearance panel, add another new stroke which duplicates the previous one. So now I've got another white dashed line sitting on top of the other previous white dashed line. I'm going to set this top one back to black. I'm going to set this top one down to 80. And then I'm going to go to my stroke panel and turn off the dashed line. So now all I see are the tips of that white dashed line from before. Okay, great. Now, on this stroke right here, I can go to the pop-up one more time, add one more new stroke. That is also black, also 80. So I will make this one gray. Instead of 80, I will make it 70. Each one getting smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. Now that I've got a 70-point line, I'm going to make it dashed again. But now instead of the dash being 6, I'm going to highlight the value for the dash and also make it 70 and hit return or enter. Okay, these are little spots where I'm going to show my photographs. The gap in between, I'll highlight the gap and type 10 and enter just to push them apart a little more. And now we have this strip of film. But technically, we don't have a strip of film at all. These are visual effects that I've been stacking up on my appearance panel. If I go to View menu and show this in outline mode, none of those boxes truly exist yet. I'll go to View menu and show Preview. So I need to turn these gray boxes into actual boxes that I can put photos into. So really important, I am on the top gray dashed line and I go to Object menu, Path, because anything I draw is a path, and I outline the stroke, outline the gray dashed stroke. Now I can see anchor points around all these boxes. In fact, if I go to View and Outline, there's the boxes. I'll go to View and Preview. But now I want to be able to click on just one of them. So when I click outside with my black arrow, I click on this box and it keeps selecting everything. So I go to Object menu and I ungroup. I'll click outside, deselect everything, and now I'll try to select this one box again. It keeps selecting all the boxes. So I go to Object, and now it won't let me ungroup those. So this is part of doing these demos in Illustrator. I know I want to separate these boxes. In my mind, I know what I want to do, but Illustrator says I can't do it. So I have to think of another way around that. Otherwise, I'm stuck right here and I can't move on. Okay, whenever you outline something, like we outlined the stroke, it creates either a group, or in this case, if I can't ungroup it, it also creates something called a compound path. And what a compound path does is combines multiple shapes into one. So don't think of this as a bunch of little gray boxes. Think of this as one line of film. I want to separate all these gray boxes into individual ones. If ungroup doesn't work, then Object, Compound Path, and Release will work. Now when I click outside, I can select one box at a time. Perfect. Now I want to zoom in and throw in a photo right inside this little box right here. So I'll just go to File, Place. I'll go to my demo folder right here on my desktop, number 9, film strip. And I'll pick this little dog right here. So adorable. No options here, no check marks or anything on my options. And all I have to do when I click place is click and drag a box slightly bigger than the gray box. So I'll go up here above, click and drag, and I can tell that blue box, that blue outline is bigger than the gray, so that's perfect. I don't have to go real big. All I have to do is go to Object menu, Arrange, and send the photo to the back of the gray box. Now I take my black arrow and move it. I click once on the photo, shift click once on the gray box. You have to have both items selected. And then you go to Object menu, Clipping Mask, Make. That gray box now traps the photo inside. Now I don't like the way the photo landed in the box, so I click outside And anytime you want to select what's inside of a clipping mask, the photo that's inside of the gray box, you have to use your white arrow. Now when I click right here, I can see the outline of the photo. Here is my free transform. I can rotate the photo a little bit. I can hold shift so I don't distort my photo and drag a corner down a little more. Now I can let go of the shift key, move on the photo and move it back into place right there. Maybe rotate it a little more. And now I click outside. Okay, I'll do that one more time. I want a photo to go inside this gray box. You don't have to click on the gray, just know that you want to put a photo in here. File menu, place. I'll click on another photo. No check marks under my options. I place it, click and drag, so I always start above. Click and drag a box slightly bigger than the gray, so you can guarantee your entire photo will fill the gray. Object menu, arrange, send it to the back of the gray box. Hold shift and click on the gray box. You have to have the photo and the box selected at the same time. Object menu, clipping mask, make. I don't like where that dog landed either. I click outside to deselect, go to my white arrow, click on the photo. So now I have the contents of what's in the box. I can hit the down arrow key on my keyboard right there, maybe the right arrow key a little bit. And I don't think that needs to be rotated, so I'll just click outside. You can see the possibilities here. I'm not going to do every photo, but you can see what is possible using a combination of your appearance panel and your stroke panel, stacking layers. Well, in this case, I only used one layer, but you get the idea. The appearance panel, the stroke panel, and you can get some really complex arrangements with very little effort possible. Remember, this was just a 3-point line in the beginning. And that's how you can use a combination of these panels to create a strip of film here in Adobe Illustrator. Hope you liked it.